tell my good friend 918 Mean Machine Rocket's waving with that boring one. Okay, I'm gonna get back out of the middle of the road. Hey, we'll see you 134 Rocket right around the Lone Star. Goddamn.
Hey, that's a Roger, Rocket. Hey, Rocket, man, you sounding all kind of good in this trashy trim. Hey, Rocket, 134 with the wave.
Yeah, 10 Roger, you got that trashy trim walking, talking all by your lonesome down here in the big stop. Alright, is that again?
Hello guys and gals, it is me, Shane, Gemini Garage, and got another video for you today. This video here is kind of an interesting one, kind of a pain in the butt to be honest, but it's sort of a necessary video in the sense that while you don't necessarily need to do a full transmit mod on your radio, it is nice to know how to get into the filing system of your radio. It's also nice to know kind of what part of the menu you would need to go into to update the firmware, and it's also nice to know just, sort of what you would need to do to get into your files or to get into your, hook up your wireless network and all that kind of stuff. So that's what I'm going to cover in doing this. I am going to do the full transmit mod. You can tell a radio that's had the full transmit mod because it ends up with this little FTX icon up here in the corner when you're done doing it. I'll try and flash a picture of that up there, but that's how you know that mod's been done on one of these radios. I did not go through all of the bands to see which ones. I'm assuming it transmitted pretty much on everything that it's legally allowed to transmit on, except for the 11 meter. But I didn't go through and check that. So just an FYI there for you. Of course, you do this at your own risk. You're not supposed to transmit using this radio. There's a lot of controversy around this, and so I'm just gonna. The original reason was because you had 10, 11, and 12 meters, and then they took 11 meters and made it a citizen's band. But when they did that, most ham radios at the time put out 70 watts, 80 watts, 100 watts. You couldn't just turn it down to where they were only going to put out 4 watts, was what they newly allotted the 11 meter band. So they just basically made all those radios incapable of transmitting on that band. But you fast forward to nowadays when you can adjust the power on something to where you can actually transmit, your allotted amount on the band. I don't really see a problem with it. You can very easily, and this radio is only going to put out 4 or 5 watts when it's on the battery, which is any CB radio is going to put out the same. Any CB radio is going to put out between probably 3 and 6 watts, depending on the power supply you have it hooked up to. If you got it sitting on your bench and you got it hooked up to a 14.5 power supply, probably going to put out a little bit more than if it's in an old Pinto, barely hitting 12.9 while it's running. So, but anyways. Lots of other reasons to get in here. You need to know how to get into your filing system. You need to know how to hook up, enable and disable your Wi-Fi for this and everything else. So, going to get into that while showing you how to do the 11 meter mod or the M.A.R.S mod for this. Basically, like I said, you need to get into the filing system of this thing, and there's a couple different ways of doing it. There's one way that you're going to basically do it wirelessly. You're going to need a computer or a desktop or a laptop. You're going to need a wireless internet connection to do it the way I'm showing you. There are some other ways where you can download a program and hopefully just be able to do it through the USB cable. That's not how I did it, but the word has it if you download this putty program and you just hook it up via USB, you can get in that way. But the way I'm going to show you, you're going to need, like I said, a laptop or a desktop computer. You're going to need an internet connection, and you're also going to need a way to scan the IP addresses of that internet connection. Basically what you need to do is you need a wireless connection. You're going to hook this thing up to your wireless connection, just like you would a computer or whatever. Then after you do that, you're going to open up this program that you're going to download on your computer. You're going to find the IP address of this radio here after it's connected. You're going to type that IP address into this computer program, and then that gets you into the files of the radio, and you find the right file, click on it, erase the disable and type in enable on the right file, reboot it, and you're good to go. So that's basically what you're doing. That's how come you have to have a computer, it's how come you have to have a wireless connection, and it's how come you have to download a certain program on your computer. You would think all this stuff being what it is, you could just like plug a USB cable into this thing, plug it into your computer, type in a password, and all the files of the radio would pop up, but it doesn't work like that. It's a Linux-based operating system, so they don't open up, like a Windows system would. So you need something on your Windows computer, or even there's other ways to get in there, but you basically, like I said, if you know what you're doing, there's other methods that you can use to get into your files. But for your average person that's going to be using a Windows-based desktop or laptop computer, this is how you're going to do it. So with that, I'm going to got to go into the kitchen to do all this, and I've already done it, so I'm basically kind of going to have to try and do it again to show you how to do it. So hopefully that goes as planned. So let me rearrange all this and set up in the kitchen, and we'll get to it. Stick with me. Okay, and before I get into this, a little bit of a just a disclaimer here and a little bit of friendly advice. Don't forget, this is a software-defined radio, and you're using a computer system, so there's going to be times when you're going to have glitches or things just don't play well together. Maybe the operating system on the computer is having problems downloading the program that you need. Maybe there's something going on with your Wi-Fi and you're having problems logging the radio into your Wi-Fi. These are all problems that I had while trying to do this. And it wasn't that I was doing anything wrong necessarily, and it wasn't that there was anything wrong with the radio. It was just, compatibility issues amongst some of this stuff just doesn't want to play well. Like, it took me 2 or 3 times to get WinSCP downloaded onto this computer, as to where another laptop I was using, it only took 1 time. And then I initially had problems getting my radio to log into my Wi-Fi. And there was something going on with my Wi-Fi router where apparently the Wi-Fi router can broadcast on several different channels. It chooses a channel, what's best for it. And instead of being on auto and choosing whatever channel it wanted, it was set on channel 1. Well, everything else that I've tried to, log into, I haven't had a problem. But when I tried to get this radio to log in to my wireless, it wouldn't do it. As soon as I switched over the auto channel feature inside the router, then it logged right in. And it didn't have anything to do with the security pass key or any of that kind of stuff. I double and triple checked all of that. It was just some other little thing that was going on in my router, my wireless, that the radio didn't like. So once again, if you are having problems downloading the program to the computer, it might be the computer. If you're not able to get into your wireless, it might not be the radio. It might be something going on with your wireless. If you have friends or relatives that have computers and wireless, you might want to ask to use theirs or try theirs if you can't get it working with yours. All right. Well, like I said, and speaking of glitchy things, I ended up switching to a different computer to try this. So I'm going to do a real quick recap here. Okay, so again, we're going to go to winscp.net. And it's going to take you to that page there. WinSCP 6.5 download, which is what I downloaded. And that's going to show you all this stuff here. Sometimes you'll get a page with some ads and stuff. Just ignore the ads. Don't click on them, or that'll put you off somewhere else, of course. And make sure you're going to the winscp.net. Again, this stuff can be glitchy enough as it is. There are some sites that'll host things like this where you might go to a site and this is listed on there and it'll send you there, but try to go straight to it, because that's just the best way to not have to worry about getting something that you don't want. So once again, WinSCP, scroll down here, you're going to want to click on that to download it. Once it's downloaded, you will have this little icon. It's a little gray padlock with a green arrow and a blue arrow coming out of it. and you will click on that. And that's what it's going to bring up there. It's going to bring up two windows, one on top of the other. This smaller window here, you're going to hook your radio up to the Wi-Fi here in a second, but you're going to get your IP address. After you've hooked your radio up to that Wi-Fi, you're going to find an IP address for it. You're going to put that IP address in this box here, and then some cheesy little password, and that's going to get you into the file system of the 6200. Remember, I told you had to basically create an internet connection and then go in through Wi-Fi to do it. And you have to use this program, like I said, because it's a Linux-based radio, and this is a Windows-based program, so that's what you do. So, quick recap here. You go to the WinSCP, and I know this is redundant as hell, but this stuff can be really confusing, so having a step-by-step, over and over again process really kind of helps, and if you've already heard it 10 times, you can fast forward through it. So, again, download the WinSCP. And then once you download that, you'll have that icon, and then when you open it up, that's what you're going to have. And after you type in what you need to do here, this window will disappear, and then all the files for the radio will pop up in this window on the right behind it. So now let's focus on the radio. Okay, real quick, I'm just going to show what we need to do on the radio end now. We've already downloaded the WinSCP and open that up on the computer there. And now we're going to go to the radio end of it here. We're going to just be at our home screen here on our radio. We're going to go to the system again, and then we're going to scroll to the WLAN right there and click on that. It's going to find our networks. It's found one there. And so what you do is you start turning your wheel here, and your green square lights up, and you take that up to password. Then you hit this keyboard button here, and that gives you a keyboard there to type in your password. So I'm going to do that real quick. Okay, now after you have your password typed in here, which I do, my thumb's just over it, you will go ahead and hit close, and that saves the password into this screen over here. And then you hit connect. And there you go, it's connected. And it still shows the password over here on that screen, so but I don't need to be in here anymore. It's showing my router thingy there, and then it's showing connected in the green down there. And so you go ahead and exit this screen here. And then this just puts us back into the kind of menu right there where we were to get into all this. We could just exit out of there. And now we're back just onto our radio there. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to go, we got our radio wirelessly hooked up to our router now. Now we need to find the IP address of our radio. And again, once we find the IP address of our radio, we are going to type it in to this box right here. And then that's going to get us into our file system here, and let us enable or disable our full transmit. So let's go back up here to the computer. And what you're going to do is, depending on the brand or whatever the router, you need to log into your router. If you know how to log into your router, no big deal. If you don't, you might have to look up what your brand is and figure out how to do it. Mine is basically just for my brand router. It's just a universal IP address that you type into your web page search, and it takes you into the router. Let's see here. Where is mine at? So right there, it's taking me into my router right here on a CenturyLink router. So most of these routers, you've got like something on sticker on the side of the router, on the bottom. It's got all these numbers, pass keys, and all this nasty little code stuff here that you got to type in. You basically need to type in the username to get into your router. The other thing you can do is, if you've got some kind of wireless device that scans the wireless signals in your area and can tell you what's hooked up to your computer. If it tells you the IP address, you're good. If you've got something that can scan or see IP addresses, it'll say Xiegu whatever radio, and it'll give you an IP address. So get the IP address number, and you're good to go. So real quick here, I'm going to type my password into here, get into my router, and then show you what you would do from there. Okay, so just kind of giving you an idea here how it is for me anyways. So I've typed in my administrator password into my CenturyLink router. Again, you may have no problems getting into your router, your Wi-Fi, your hotspot, whatever. And again, the only reason you really need to do this is just to find your IP address for your radio here. If you've got another way to scan or see what IP addresses are hooked up to your wireless router or whatever, then that's all you need. So I'm going to go ahead and click apply here. Okay, that throws me into all the things I want to know on my router, modem status. Let's see here. How about wireless status, device table? Okay, that tells me all of these different devices here, and there it is, the Xiegu X6200, and the IP address is 192.163.038, right there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to run my cursor over that, and I'm going to hit the copy right there. And then what I'm going to do is, let's see here, I'm going to go ahead and just back out of here. Now here I am to that window again. Remember, we've got the WinSCP program opened up here. Try and make this so there's not so much glare here. Gonna go ahead and put that right in there under the host name. I'm not going to do anything with this number 22 port registration over here. The username is root, so I'm going to type in root here on the keyboard. You're going to have to excuse me, I can't see the friggin' keyboard, so I got to get the flashlight out. My O's sticky, so my O's not working right on this old computer here. And the password is 123. So I went ahead and copied and pasted my IP address from the radio. I pasted it in here. I put root 123, which is the password. Didn't mess with anything else. And then I'm going to go ahead and hit this login button here. And it's going to show me a screen like this. And there are the radio files right there in that window right there. Now they're all in this one file here. Let me see if I can get a little better. Okay, so again, just trying to adjust this for the light here. This is certainly not optimal here. But again, after I did all that, all the files are right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to double click that one all the way to the left there, that file there. So now you got all these files here. Now I got to remember which one it is. I believe it's the ETC file. I'm trying to remember exactly which one it is. Let me check. I believe it's this ETC one here. Okay, so it was that other file that I clicked to get into this one here. This is the ETC folder. That was the fourth or fifth one down that I clicked on that put me in here. And this is the proper folder. Just got to scroll all the way down here where it says XG Radio. It's this last yellow manila folder before the 3 clear colored folders. So what you're going to want to do is click on XG radio, get your arrow right over that manila folder there and double click on it. And here you want to go into a file called XG radio conf. It's the, let's see, it's the one, counting this first file here that's actually labeled here, it's 1, 2, 3, 4. It's the 4th one down. No, it's the 5th one down. The 5th one down. XG radio conf. That one right there. All right. XG radio conf. That one right there. You're going to double click on that. You see this window that just opened up here? Right there. It says full band transmit, enable, and enable. But when yours is not enabled, this will say disable. What you need to do is just literally put your cursor up here, erase that, put enable. Then after you've made that change, this little floppy disk symbol here will illuminate. You'll be able to choose it. You can't choose it as an option because you haven't done anything here, but when you erase this when you erase the disable and put enable on this lower one here, it'll give you the option to save it. You click save, you back out of all this stuff. So we'd go ahead and we'd put our cursor here, we'd erase disable and put enable there. We'd go up here, we'd click that disk save button there. Then we'd come over here, we'd click out of here, and we'd go up to this window here, and we'd click out of here. And just get out all of it. Then what you'd want to do is turn off your radio. Just let it turn all the way off. Turn it back on. And if you are successful, you will have that red FTX transmit icon up here in the corner. Like I said, getting into the file system and just kind of changing that real quick isn't so bad. It's doing all this other crap to get in there. Now, like I said, there's another thing called PuTTY that you are supposed to be able to download and hook a USB cable straight up to this, but the procedure is a little bit different. You don't put an IP address in there. There's like a gateway that you type in or something instead of an IP address, because you're you're doing it through a wire instead of a wireless, obviously. So I will put a link to a couple different videos, describing all of that. So let me kind of back up with this here a little bit, kind of try and recap some of this a little bit real quick, and wrap up the video here. So okay, so real quick, just go through the settings here on your menu here. This again is the system button here. But you got your time setting there, and then you got your system info, which is your firmware version and all that there. And you got the parts you go into if you want to do firmware upgrade. And then there's your LAN setting there. Should detect your wireless networks, which it does. And then the Bluetooth. You can turn the Bluetooth off and on. That's just a server setting for the radio. I'm not exactly sure what all that is and how all that works, but the rig name, username, password, it's all that stuff for getting into the file system, I think. But and then this is just whatever language, English or Chinese. And then go down to factory reset. I'm not going to hit that, just not like you could just hit it and reset it, but that's where you go for the factory reset. So, okay, well, there you go. I hope that was educational. Kind of a pain in the butt. Like I said, it's already open to receive, so that's half the battle there. So, but if you're a diehard and you want to know how to get in there, or even if you, like I said, wanted to know how to get into the file system, like I said, there's a special way to get in here. You can't just plug it into your computer and have it pop up because it's not a Windows operating system. So hopefully you learned something on how to do all of that. So I'm going to have another video coming up here in another couple weeks on accessories or little things that you might want to pick up when you're buying one of these things. Just little extras, some adapters, coax connectors, a couple other little things. I got a case for it, and didn't work out quite like I thought, so I've got some advice on what I think you should do for maybe a case for it. And but anyways, click the like and subscribe if you think about it. Again, I hope this motivates you to check these radios out, and if you have one, don't be too shy with it. Just pay attention to what you're doing. You probably won't screw anything up too bad. So with that, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Shane.